People often wonder about the differences between how men and women lead. What are your thoughts on this? Men and women certainly do have substantially different leadership styles. It's real. Just Google sex differences or gender differences in leadership. Men and women lead differently. As a superficial conclusion, men lead by command and control. Women lead by building interpersonal relationships, teams, and goal accomplishments. The effectiveness of the styles of command and control, or team building and personal relationship, depends on the specific organizational culture. To me, leadership is knowing people. It's about trust. I want to emphasize these two different paths. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Al Gore, in accepting his 2007 Nobel Peace Prize, combined these two. We have to go far quickly. And that means we have to quickly find a way to change the world's consciousness about exactly what we're facing and why we have to work to solve it. When I was younger, I would study the philosophy and cultural differences between men and women leaders because I moved in a man's world. Much of the gender difference is based on our culture. We have to change the U.S. culture. I don't bother to worry about the differences in gender anymore. I decided to treat everyone with respect and build an influence network. I challenge them to understand that cooperation and competition are not mutually exclusive. And that's what I'm talking about. Cooperation go together and forward. Competition go fast and alone. They're not mutually exclusive. My mother taught me by example that I could be whatever I strove for. My father would have me in the traditional school teacher role. Now there is a glass ceiling which takes a pickaxe to break through. Today, this might not be so apparent. The push for power is a demand for respect. In our culture, a woman's push for influence or power is often measured in trust. A man's push for influence or power is often measured in threats. To me, leadership is always more successful if it is based on trust. This speaks to motivation and not necessarily personalities. Don't be afraid of policy and leadership. Let me re-quote E.O. Wilson, we need you badly. We also need to go far quickly. Build that inclusive influence network based on trust and mutual respect for the well-being of all of us. When I hit 53 and was a district governor for Rotary International, my husband would hear men plotting privately that they'd get up and walk out during my address. After all, they'd never seen a woman Rotarian. Who was Rotary International to force a woman on them? After my address to the club, the private comments often changed to, wow, that was the best talk I'd ever heard. She's on the ball. My focus. Everyone has a unique viewpoint. We all come together to form a club. Each club has a ring of truth that comes from the inclusion of all the viewpoints. It's not a male-female struggle. Think on Angela Merkel of Germany. She looks like a grandmother. However, she leads her country to more than moral discipline. She asked them to do the right thing. You can be pretty sure that the family members will be upper management if you work for a family-owned company. You have a good shot at becoming an upper manager if you work for an employee-owned company. The difficulty is, in large companies, if you like field work, you have to be unafraid to take on management roles. Too many young professionals don't realize that a large firm is selecting managers within the first 2 or 3 years. When offered a promotion, think about it. You will be asked to provide leadership and policy. That is a recognition of trust in your competence. If you pass it up because you want a few more years in the field, it may be too late to get a seat at the table. Simple wisdom, Beware of being comfortable in your position. Not all actions need permission. You are all in the pipeline to change your companies. I believe in the pipeline, but sometimes it just seems like an insurmountable objection. I like to think that women are entering the workplace and coming up the pipeline. When I graduated from college and finished my postdoc in 1972, I received a letter from a prestigious New England university. The message was, "We're seeking a female to join the faculty. Please send your particulars and recommendations to us." I was thrilled to receive such an inquiry letter and sent in the package, but never even got an acknowledgement. I received the same identical inquiry letter 10 years later. By then I knew that this university was just sending out the same letter annually to every female who had an advanced degree to show that they were doing their due diligence in their search for the perfect woman who could walk on water. Sally Chapman of Barnard College researched the data from the American Chemical Society from 1945 to 2005. For chemistry and chemical engineering, the tenure data hasn't changed even after 60 years. Plenty of women are entering the university and college stream. The fall-off rate at tenured ranks is significantly larger for women. Gender inequity is not a solved problem 60 years later. Is this a result of the Queen Bee syndrome that I mentioned elsewhere, or is this a U.S. cultural divide? One last thought. Recently I heard the following in a panel discussion of women's roles in national security from a former Department of Defense Undersecretary woman who was charged with integrating the sexes in the military. She said, "It is true. Diversity brings better leadership and well-being to the company. It's smart for values, not just for morale. Companies with a diverse workforce tend to be more profitable and the employees are more satisfied. You, my younger colleagues, can't allow this divide to continue within the U.S. paint industry. We are all needed to make this a stronger community." E.O. Wilson said, "We need you badly." Al Gore said, "We need to go far quickly." Build that inclusive influence network based on trust and mutual respect for the well-being of all of us.